strong group of women, how do you guys like process and like develop ideas and pick what goes to final cut?
Well, we act kind of hormonally. We don't have a formal hierarchy, although sometimes, the person who shouts the loudest, gets their voice heard. We just sort of worked it out. People have come into the group, they've gotten angry, they've left, they've come back. We go through all kinds of machinations, brainstorming. We rarely do something, well, we won't do any, we work kind of by consensus. If the member is really opposed to something, we will not do it. And also, girls are really good at like stamping envelopes and answering the phone and doing all that kind of, maintenance work. So we're all doing that all at the same time, keeping it going.
To be honest, we've gone through everything groups go through. There are always people willing to really put in the time. If any of you have worked in volunteer groups, you know. Some people are always ready, they always do it. Other people want to kind of waltz in and, control something, and that doesn't usually work so well. People come in and out. People have great ideas, people have not so great ideas, and who knows how it gets done. Some years it's been, terrible and contentious. Some years it's been so exciting and transformative.
But we don't have a hierarchy, and we aren't paid, so when you work that way, kind of as a volunteer, sometimes it's the person who works the hardest who gets their ideas heard.
As far as gaining exposure and really trying to get your message out there, you guys are some of like the founding members and movements as far as like the women movement goes and graffiti and doing like street art to gain exposure. Could you explain a little bit more how that was in the beginning, like 1985? Being some of the only women who became graffiti.
We never really did graffiti. We did put posters up on the street. And there were wonderful women doing graffiti. I mean, it may have been, especially, in New York in the 80s, it may have been a boys' club in a lot of ways, but just like every era of art history, there's always been some women doing it too. We actually are in more of a tradition. Our work is on the street, but we're in much more of a tradition of agitprop postering, which is also always on. And that's what kind of inspired us to do what we do. We just had the idea to put up posters. And here, I don't even see any posters in Chicago. Are there areas where there are posters in the street?
Sometimes those are
That's
more like active.
Yes.
Rather than like formal.
There are street art removal trucks that patrol the streets of Chicago.
Yeah. It seems like it because it's awfully clean here. But in New York City, it was huge. I mean, there were walls and buildings under construction and all sorts of places where there were layers and layers and layers. There were rants by crazy people. There was graffiti. There were posters. There were movie posters. There were political posters. There were movie posters. And that's kind of the stew of public expression that we joined.
We were never graffiti artists in that, I think of graffiti as being the creation of unique objects in a single place that then get wiped out. We always did reproducible images, and we did mass distribution of them. We used the street as a backdrop and as a theater, but we didn't do graffiti. And we would go places where there were art galleries and where we knew our target market was, where people would understand the work. And it just so happened that at that time in New York, galleries, they were sort of sprouting up in places that were developing, like East Village, like Soho, and there were always construction sites, and there were always sort of ragtag places that you could put things up. And that's why we did it. We did it. It was the street, but it was because it was the street where our market, where our audience was. We wanted them to hear it. We didn't.
But, you know, beyond that little art audience of the beginning, we very quickly branched out. And in addition to street postering, we started using public advertising sites, which we still do, even more than ever today. We would rent space on the buses, you know, and put posters up. Someone would give us a billboard, and we'd do that. We did some, you know, bus billboards. Now, of course, it's so fantastic. You can do, you know, 50-foot high banners on buildings, and people give us those buildings. We've done that in Mexico City, in Rotterdam, in the U.S. I mean, it's been, and we still do street postering in different cities. But I don't know, could we do that here? We'd have to go right before the truck, or maybe right after, because they can't look behind them.
What about on the truck?
On the itself.
What about on the truck?
Actually, that is such a great idea. Let's graffiti the anti-graffiti truck. Love it.